Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once more again to Vox Politica. This is your number one Kenyan YouTube political channel where we unpack Kenya's biggest political headlines. My name, as usual, is Jacob Nyende. Now, yesterday, today, and tomorrow, President William Ruto is camping in Western Kenya in what we can call as early political campaigns as we near 2027. Ladies and gentlemen, President William Ruto is trying to lay grounds for his easy escape in 2027 back to power.
Si huyu Otuama alikuwa mrengo ingine? Si huyu Oparanya alikuwa mrengo ingine? Si huyu baba wa Roma alikuwa mrengo ingine? Musalia akakuwa mrengo ingine? Lakini sisi wote sasa ni timu moja. Team ya broad based.
Ladies and gentlemen, the reason I want to talk about this rally in Western Kenya is because of what the leaders who possess themselves as the kingpins of the Mulembe nation said during this rally, ladies and gentlemen. In this rally, we had Musalia Mudavadi, the Prime Cabinet Secretary. We had Moses Masika Wetangula on this caravan, ladies and gentlemen. Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya is also on this caravan, ladies and gentlemen. But these are three leaders I've mentioned from Western Kenya, whom people of Western Kenya will depend on, since they are directly into the government, to initiate development in this region that will create job opportunities both for the skilled and unskilled individuals in this area. Ladies and gentlemen, if you take a walk in Western Kenya, the percentage of poverty in that area, ladies and gentlemen, is very high. The rate of unemployment is looming just like any other part of the country, ladies and gentlemen. While other leaders in other parts of this country who are in government are pushing for creation of industries in their areas and creation of permanent jobs, both for skilled and unskilled citizens, ladies and gentlemen, the one thing that Musalia Mudavadi and Moses Wetangula could boast about and ask the people of Kenya, people of Western Kenya in particular, to re-elect President William Ruto in 2027 is one project that has brought a house with a lift in Funyula, ladies and gentlemen. Just listen to Musalia Mudavadi speaking and telling Kenya and wondering that at least the government has for once built a house with a lift in Funyula, and that this should be the one solid reason why they should re-elect the president. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to him.
Funyula hoye! Funyula hoye! Yani kuna lift hapa. Lift nyingi zimeingia hapa. Yani hata wataalamu wa ku-maintain lifts watatoka hapa Funyula. Nyinyi ni watu wa ajabu. Muradi huo ndio sisi tunasema katika Kenya nzima tushikane na Mheshimiwa Rais. Hakuna mambo mengine.
It even got more worse when Moses Masika Wetangula, a person who holds the third most powerful position in the government of Kenya after the vice president, took the mic and repeated the same thing. He said the affordable housing that has been built for the people of Western Kenya, ladies and gentlemen, is something that should make them actually re-elect President William Ruto.
Abasamia Mulembe kandi mulimoyo. Mheshimiwa Rais, hii ni kama ndoto. Nilipofika hapa nikaona hizi nyumba, na ukiangalia quality ya mjengo ni kama zile tunaona Nairobi. Super quality. Tena tumeona hii jeshi ya vijana wanafanya kazi hapa. Hawa vijana wamepata ajira kwa sababu ya huu mjengo ikitokana na maono yake.
They are talking this, ladies and gentlemen, when one of the most performing paper industry in Western Kenya is down. I'm talking about the Webuye pan paper industry. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an industry that initially had actually employed both the skilled and the unskilled. You see, They are talking of affordable housing, creating employment for the people. But what they forget is that affordable housing is a temporary thing. And it can't give a solution to the unemployed rates in this country, ladies and gentlemen. In affordable housing, the professions that will get there, ladies and gentlemen, are people who have done things with construction. But when you put up a country, an industry, like when you raise or renovate, re-energize those that have already collapsed, like Webuye and Pepper, this company alone, ladies and gentlemen, is going to employ HRs, it's going to employ people to work in finance, it's going to employ both skilled and unskilled, ladies and gentlemen. Even the farmers who will be growing these trees that are used to make paper out of it will have income. So such things are the things that the leaders of who post themselves as the leaders are supposed to push since they are directly into government. But they are very happy and boasting about it that a house with a lift has been built in Funyula. Ladies and gentlemen, is this not what we call political mockery to the people of Western Kenya? Due to this, George Natembeya is saying Tawe, right? This is the very reason George Natembeya is walking across the counties of Murembe Nation, urging them to change the leadership at the top. That is the only way that the people of Western Kenya can escape from this poverty that has clinched onto their hands for a long period of time, ladies and gentlemen, despite the fact that senior political leaders from that area sits at the helm where decisions about development of the country are made. Moses Masika Wetangula sits in parliament. In fact, he presides over and signs most of the proposals, development proposals for members of parliament in the house. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a person who is supposed to strategically pool resources through these members of parliament from these areas to the people of Western Kenya. But they are posting about a house with a lift and saying that the people in the opposition have no agenda. So what is their agenda, ladies and gentlemen? In the comment section, let me see what's your thought on these utterances, on this utterance from Moses Masika Wetangula, Musalia Mudavadi, and Oparanya regarding the President William Ruto's re-election. Remember, this is Vox Politica, your number one YouTube political channel where we unpack Kenya's biggest political headline. You're here and yet to subscribe. Let me ask you to just take 1 second, hit that subscription button and then smash that notification bell and also click that like button. By doing like that, ladies and gentlemen, YouTube will be able to notify you whenever I upload to the next video. And also, you will be helping me to reach a wider audience. That is the only way you can support me, ladies and gentlemen. That time I want to end it there and let me see you in our next video.
Because I'm smartly dressed na Kiswahili si mdomo changu.